Welcome to another episode of New Moon, New Music. What you just heard right there is my friend Danny Barnes. And this whole episode will be about Danny Barnes. Danny is a phenomenal musician, songwriter, visual artist, and just one of the coolest cats, brightest cats that I know. And Danny Barnes. The first time I ever heard of Danny Barnes, by the way, wasn't that a great instrumental right there? It's called Isotope 709. And that's Danny Barnes on the banjo. He plays other things too, bass, accordion, on and on and on, guitar, of course. But his main thing that we all know him for is the banjo. And singing and writing songs and all that kind of stuff. So a very creative cat. And I first heard about Danny Barnes in his band called Bad Livers. And Bad Livers had a spell where they were on Sugar Hill Records, which I was on Sugar Hill Records at that same time. So we were label mates back in 97-ish area. And I never met Danny Barnes until many years later, and not during the Bad Livers time, but there was a time then where I would see him playing with Tim O'Brien. I know he played with Nick Forster. He did a bunch of other things in other people's bands, but he also did his own thing. And he's kind of a musician's musician. Players very much get how brilliant he is and how good he is and all that kind of stuff. And I did too. I had just never met him, and I would see him on stage playing with somebody or whatever, and it was like, man, this guy is great. And but we never met, even though we were at the same festivals here, there, and yonder. Somehow we just never met, and that happens sometimes. You'd think you'd run into people all the time and meet them and hang out and all that kind of stuff, but I never did until I did. It was many years into seeing him around. And where I first met him, it's kind of a funny story. We were both teaching at Grand Targhee music camp up there in I guess it's Wyoming. It might be Idaho or a little of both. You drive through a little of Idaho to get to this little scratch of Wyoming up there. Anyway, I was teaching songwriting. He was teaching probably banjo or something like that. And so I went to his workshop, and there was like 60 people in the workshop. And really it was a kind of workshop where he just just talks. It wasn't like having students in the regular way and they play and he comments or this or that. It was just him kind of lecturing of a sort. And I thought it's time, to go get, to go hear him, because I'd never met him. I just was always admired him and was like, let me go see this guy. So I went to his workshop and I kind of snuck into the back of the workshop to, just to hear it. I didn't need to be seen or want to be or anything like that. I just wanted to see what this guy had to say. And he spotted me somewhere in his workshop and he was talking about rhythm guitar. And even though we'd never met, we never played together or anything, he called me out and said, as he was talking about rhythm guitar in bands or something like that, especially acoustic band or bluegrass or something like that. And he said, well, let me give you an example. And he just called me up on stage, not stage, but into this workshop. And we'd never played before, we'd never met. And so he just started playing a tune and I just played along hoping, it was what he had been talking about rhythm player. It turned out, I guess, that it was the feel for it or something like that. And so he really enjoyed it and it was just a nice workshop and I was just called up there to do that. And that's how we actually met, because we had not bumped into each other in all those years. Basically, it was either that day or the following day that Glenn Campbell had died. So this was like 2017, I guess, August. And I was a huge Glenn Campbell fan. Turns out Danny Barnes was as well. And where we really met was that Glenn Campbell, one of his biggest hits was Gentle on My Mind, written by our hero, banjo player John Hartford. So when Glenn died, either later that afternoon when we found out or the next day, it was somewhere right in there, I just met this cool cat named Danny Barnes. I said, hey man, come over to my room and we'll just do a recording, just like a Facebook or some kind of posting of Glenn Campbell or this John Hartford song. Let's just throw down a little bit. That's what we did. I'm going to start off by playing that for you. Here's me and Danny Barnes doing John Hartford's Gentle on My Mind, the day that Glenn Campbell died.
Free to walk. That makes me tend to leave my sleeping bag rolled up and stashed behind your couch. It's knowing I'm not shackled by forgotten words and bonds and the ink stains that have dried upon someone. That keeps you on the back road by the rivers of my memory, keeps you ever gentle on my mind.
Oh, and it's like clinging to the rocks and ivy, planted on the columns now that bind me. Or something that somebody said because they thought we fit together, walking man. It's just knowing that the world will not be cursing or forgiving as I walk along some railroad track and find that got you weaving on the back roads by the rivers of my memories for hours. You just turn along my mind.
Through the wheat fields and the clotheslines and the junkyards and the highways come between us. And some other woman's crying to her mother 'cause she turned and I was gone, long, long gone. And I still might run in silence, tears of joy might stain my face, and the summer sun might burn me till I'm blind.
But not to where I cannot see you walking on the back roads
My rivers flowing gentle on my mind.
I dip my cup of soup back from a gurgling, crackling cauldron in some trade yard. In my bitter rough and cold pie and a dirty hat pulled low across my face. Through cup cans round the tin cans, I pretend to hold you to my breast and fight. That you're waving from the back roads by the rivers of my memories. For hours you just gentle on my mind. Gentle on my mind. Gentle on my mind.
Danny Barnes. So he does artwork stuff too, a lot of it these days. And this is one of his. I think it's pretty cool. Can you read that? So he just does tons of artwork these days. He's doing less stuff on the road, almost none, let's say. And he's just in a great period of just being very creative and not being out there on the road and doing this sort of dog and pony that sometimes the road feels like that it is. And he's just having a great time with all of that right now, sort of finding another way to be creative, which for Danny Barnes will not be hard to do. He just kind of thinks creatively, acts creatively, plays, paints creatively and all that kind of stuff. So what I want to talk about right now is the last album that I know of. I think it's called Man on Fire. Yes, it is. And he got nominated for a Grammy for that record, and it might have been 2020, somewhere around in there, maybe the lockdown time, maybe the following year, maybe 2021, something like that. And he was nominated for Grammy in the bluegrass category. He did not win, but being nominated is a fantastic situation. Let me tell you about that record, because I got it when it first came out, and I was just knocked out by it. I just thought, that's the creative Danny Barnes guy, the writing. And let me tell you the band he put together for that record. John Paul Jones of Led Zeppelin was on bass and mandolin. Dave Matthews of the Dave Matthews Band was his executive producer, but also played Wurlitzer on the record and sang. Bill Frisell was on guitar. Let's see, who else was in there? Matt Chamberlain on drums. All these guys are just monster players. They just are. And this is the kind of people that want to be around Danny Barnes. I can't think of anyone who could put a band of that nature together. So players want to be around Danny Barnes, from what I can tell. I'm one of those too, by the way. And so I think it's a very creative record and wonderful. It's got his writing, singing, playing banjo, but other things too. And this killer band that almost no one we know could put this band together, but he did. So I want to play for you a video that he had for this record. It's called Hey Man.
Good thing
shack. Got a $2 bill and a shirt on my back. Find a bridge to start anew. Running, scared from the things that you do. I said, hey man, hey man.
Hey Man by Danny Barnes. So check out that whole album. I would love to play the whole album right now, but I'll let you find it. Man on Fire by Danny Barnes. He's got many, many records. I don't know, 6-ish, 8-ish. Bad Livers records. He's just one of those guys, and I was always afraid to meet him, actually, in just a timid way on my part. I would see him and I was just kind of like, man, this cat is cool, and I was kind of in awe of him. And I just wanted the situation to be right, and it turned out that workshop that he put on, and then us doing Gentle on My Mind in my hotel room was how we did it. And we've been kind of hanging in some way or another and talking and sending messages and this and that ever since. For example, that same Grand Targhee Festival, I was doing a set and by myself solo thing on the main stage, and I asked Danny to sit in with me there, and he did. And also Daryl Anger was teaching there too, and I asked Daryl to join me. So we had us a little throw together time up there, and he's just, flexible and wide open musically, and that's just the way he does things. And I'm glad I finally got to meet him. So he lives in the Seattle area, but it's actually across that bay from Seattle, over there in I can't think of the name of it now. But if you were in Seattle looking across somewhere in that distance, that's about where that is. It ends up in an island or something like that. I should have better information, but basically it's in the Seattle area of sorts. So anytime I get to Seattle, I look him up, we hang out, or I go walking with him early in the morning when I'm in the area, and I'll seek him out. I'll add a day or something onto my Seattle time just to go visit with them. So such is the case when I was playing in Seattle, and I went the day before just to hang with him, and I said, hey man, let's record a little bit at your house. Real not no big deal, casual, no song list or anything like that. I just showed up and, hey, what do you want to do? And so I'm going to play that for you right now. That's something you've never heard before, that's never been released, and this is kind of, it's that happening is right here on this New Moon New Music. And we're going to have it over there on Bandcamp, it's called. And anyway, so I want to play you some of those songs right now. We did 3 songs, very simply. 1 microphone for me and 1 microphone for Danny. Vocals went through that microphone, whatever instrument we were playing. He was on banjo, but I played a couple of things. He had this instrument that wasn't a mandolin, it wasn't a guitar, it was some weird something or other, open tuning sort of kind of thing. Wasn't a banjo. I don't know what it was, but I said, hey, let me play that. And we made a recording of an old Hank Williams song, Are You Walking? Are You Talking for the Lord by Hank Williams song, put together by me and Danny Barnes. at his house. Have a listen.
Walking, talking, walking, talking, walking, talking, walking.
On your journey to the grave, would you stop and try to save? Are you walking and a talking for the Lord? Would you lend a helping hand to some poor sinner man? Are you walking and a talking for the Lord? Are you walking? Are you walking? Are you talking? Are you talking? Are you walking and a talking for the Lord? As you travel in his light every day and every night, are you walking and a talking for the Lord? If your heart said testify, would the world hear your reply? Are you walking and a talking for the Lord? Would you stand and shout his name, or just bow your head in shame? Are you walking and a talking for the Lord? Now are you walking? Are you walking? Are you talking? Are you talking? Are you walking and a talking for the Lord? As you travel in his light every day and every night, are you walking and a talking for the Lord? And when the time has come to go, will your robe be white as snow? Are you walking and a talking for the Lord? Will he take you by the hand, lead you to that promised land? Are you walking and a talking for the Lord? Now are you walking? Are you walking? Are you talking? Are you talking? Are you walking and a talking for the Lord? Are you traveling in his light every day and every night? Are you walking and a talking for the Lord?
This is an artwork that I got from Danny, I don't know, a couple years ago. And basically what he does is he seems to paint or draw whatever he wants to do, just wide open, and he takes off on it and may paint in the day, and then kind of let people know that it exists, and people just snatch it up like immediately. I'll put a link to where those kinds of things are. I know actually this came from an exhibit that he did in the town that I can't think of across from Seattle. But he had a show there of art. And so I saw that one on the line for that exhibit, and I bought that thing. That looks like the Ryman Auditorium to me on the top of a tank. And So let me get back to the songs that we played. These songs turned out to all be gospel songs, songs that I had really never done before. I've heard them all my life, like the "Are You Walking and a Talking for the Lord?" But I'd never sang it or played it or been in a group that did it. But that's the kind of thing we pulled out that morning when I stopped by his place. And then he had a song called "Just One Rose Will Do." He said, "Have you ever heard that?" I said, "No." And he played it for me, or a recording of it, maybe the Lewis Family, a gospel group. And he took the lead on that song, and I sang harmony, and it seemed like I grabbed a guitar, and we started on our second song. So have a listen to this, me and Danny Barnes at his living room, maybe a couple years ago.
When time shall come for my leaving, when I bid you adieu, don't spend your money on flowers, just one rose will do. I'll go to a beautiful garden at last when my work is through. Don't spend your money on flowers, just one rose will do. I want a good old-time preacher to preach the gospel truth. I want no tales of my history, just one rose will do. I'll go to a beautiful garden at last when my work is through. Don't spend your money on flowers, just one rose will do. I'll need no organization to make a big to-do. Just have some good old-time singing, just one rose will do. I'll go to a beautiful garden at last when my work is through. Don't spend your money on flowers, just one rose will do. Don't spend your money on flowers, just one rose will do.
Yes, Stringbean with a ring out.
Oh yeah, no kidding. Yeah, that's right.
White string.
I loved him.
Yeah, I would see him on the Opry. It was always
I
like a
loved
pleasure.
him.
Like,
I
out
loved
comes
him.
Stringbean, And I mean, as a kid, I couldn't figure it out. That tall shirt. Yeah.
Yeah, he had all these things he'd do with his hand. When
Yeah. And then those little pants and all that. He was a sight just to see.
Man, I love that guy.
Yeah. So Danny Barnes didn't do that one. I just grabbed it because it's nearish Christmas and I had it. But it's funny, you heard at the end there where Danny and I mentioned something about the ring out because I thought it was interesting. You know, ringing out on an old gospel song or an old time song or whatever just struck me as funny. That Stringbean would, who was an old time and comedian, banjo player guy on the Opry, and he was just always just pure fun when Stringbean would come out at the Opry. And I started going to the Opry when I was about 6 years old, just out in the audience and stuff. And Stringbean was always a highlight of the evening. Anyway, I just thought it was funny that ringing out, which is what you do at the last note of the song, and it's this, hold your breath almost. And I just thought it was funny that did Stringbean ever have to hold his breath on a ring out? And that sort of got us to talking a little bit. One of those impromptu kind of things. And so that brings me now to the third song that we did. And to wrap up the day. And then I think I left there and drove over to Seattle and did my gig over there that night. And I had another gospel song. Somehow we got into the gospel bag. And so out came another gospel song. I don't even know where I first heard this. I used to hear gospel a fair amount when I was a kid. We would go to church and all that kind of stuff. And it's a song called I Feel Like Traveling On. And I just heard it in a lot of sort of the gospel quartet kinds of things, so those family, like that kind of thing. And I said, hey, how about this song? And so we started in on it a little bit and came up with this. It's called I Feel Like Traveling On, me and Danny Barnes.
My heavenly hope is bright and fair. I feel like traveling on. No pain, no death can enter there. I feel like traveling on. Yes, I feel like traveling, traveling on. I feel like traveling on. My heavenly home is bright and fair. I feel like traveling. You see, the Lord has been so good to me. I feel like traveling on until His blessed home I see. I feel like traveling on. Yes, I feel like traveling, traveling on. I feel like traveling on. My heavenly home is bright and fair. I feel like traveling. Let others seek their home below. I feel like traveling on. Which flames devour or waves o'erflow. I feel like traveling on. Yes, I feel like traveling, traveling on. I feel like traveling on. My heavenly home is bright and fair. I feel like traveling on.
Man, you're like the only one that came. No one cares.
So there we are, just having fun, finishing up there. He's laughing about how no one comes to visit him. That I did, because I went, very much out of my way. But it's easy to go out of my way when the end result is getting to see or hang or play with Danny Barnes. So if I'm in the Seattle area, I'm going to go see him. And who knows, maybe we'll record next time as well. So that's our casual gathering at Danny's place a couple years ago. We wound up doing old gospel songs. And so he's just a creative cat, great player. And I asked him, actually, when I left, we said, well, what are we going to call ourselves? Double D was one of the titles that I came up with, and he came up with the New Corinthians. And it was like, yeah, that's cool. And we did gospel songs, the New Corinthians. That's the part of the New Testament thing. So that's what we're calling our little name of our album. Danny Barnes and Daryl Scott, the New Corinthians, doing these 3 gospel songs. Hope you like those. They're going to be at my Bandcamp place. They'll probably be out there in those streaming places as well. And it's just the continuation of me just monkeying around on this series of New Moon, New Music, bringing new music to you at times, or music you haven't heard in a while, or just stuff. And so we're going to continue that through the months here. We've got a lot of things planned, so thanks for joining us. I'm going to end with another Danny Barnes song that I think he's recorded a couple of times. A lot of folks know him for this song. And it's funny. The other thing that Danny Barnes is, among other things, is is funny. He can be very funny. And he has an amazing way of thinking of things and seeing things and writing. And this next song that will end our program here, this episode, will show you that. And that wraps up this episode with my friend Danny Barnes. And the song's called That's Life in the Country. And this is Danny Barnes, and I'm signing off with this tune of his. Thanks for joining us. Check out on my Bandcamp a place to get those 3 songs, or hearing it out in the streaming world. And thanks to Abraham for editing and videoing and audio and all that kind of stuff. And we'll just keep this up. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.
We got an old dog laying in the back of the holler, and the coffee cost you $50. The big boy stands in the buffet line, with the gravy lumped up when he poured in the wine. There's a woodpecker sitting on a split rail fence. That peckerwood ain't really got no sense. New country music ain't worth a dime, and the radio plays it all the time. Well, long for the days when I pick guitar, and I miss that fiddle even more. All the kids made fun when a banjo played. Think about the money that I ain't made. That's life in the country, ain't like in the movies. The poor folks go hungry. That's life in the country. Well, the sweetest girl I ever had, she wanted me to make her daddy mad. The two-bit man was a young man's dream. Well, I wasn't no woman on the football team. Well, the coach can't spell, but he taught my class. And I got some cat wants to kick my ass. The folks all wanna drink and screw, and fight when there ain't nothing left to do. That's life in the country, ain't like in the movies. Poor folks go hungry. That's life in
said it's all different now. There ain't two people that'll milk a cow. Well, the video plays on CMT. Well, it don't really make no sense to me. Where'd them people get all that bread? They ain't lived the life I led. Well, I did a little time and I wrecked some cars, but now I stay out of all them bars. I sit on the porch and sing my song. Me and my baby wanna get along. That's life in the country.